This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
How we all communicate with each other, right? I think when we think about telco and the telco industry, you might think of just your cell phone or, old-fashioned, telephone wires, but it's so much more than that. And generative AI is completely transforming not just how we all communicate, but how businesses can communicate with each other. Maybe we're going to have personal agents talking to each other, all driven by advancements that we're actually seeing here at NVIDIA GTC. So the telco industry is something I'm learning about, and I'm excited for you all to learn about it as well. So welcome to Everyday AI. What's going on, y'all? My name's Jordan Wilson. I'm the host, and this thing is for you. This is your daily live stream, podcast, and free daily newsletter, helping us not just keep up with AI, but how we can all get ahead and use this information to grow our companies and our careers. So if that's what you're doing, you're in the right place. So make sure you go to our website, youreverydayai.com. Sign up for the free daily newsletter. We'll be recapping today's conversation and everything else that you need to keep up. So, if you can see, if you're watching on the live stream, you see that we're at the NVIDIA GTC conference. Very excited to be working with NVIDIA and, being able to talk to some of the literal smartest people in the world in their domains. So let's welcome to the show. I'm excited. Lilac Ilan, the Global Head of Business Development and Telco Operations for NVIDIA, and also who's very cool, by the way, in case she has an 18 or 22-year-old daughter out there listening. But Lilac, thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you for the shout out.
Had to. Tell us a little bit about what you do in your role at NVIDIA.
Thank you, first of all, for having me. Appreciate you calling me cool. So what I do at NVIDIA, I lead AI and generative AI for the telco globally, which means that I go around the world talking to the different telcos and advocate and educate about how can they benefit from generative AI and from AI, how AI can help them transform their business, their network, and generate new revenue for them.
So, walk us through kind of what that means. So, I know that you worked, for 17 years at AT&T. So, they're one of the bigger telco companies in the world, right? Yes. So you're going out there and you're helping them use generative AI. How?
So they're, in every enterprise, doesn't matter which industry, including the telcos, AI can really help do three, and for the telcos specifically, four things. One, it can help them service their customers better. The second thing is it can help them run their operation more smoothly, more effectively. The third thing is really help them think about an accelerated development of their core product. And a core product for telcos is network, and we're going to talk about that. How can it become much more efficient? How it can be multi-tenant? And then the last thing for telco, and this is where they're uniquely positioned, there is a bonus for the telco industry. And that bonus is called new revenue opportunity, new AI factories that they can play in that industry. So those are the three main things we're talking about. And let's take examples, because we need the example to make it more tangible, Jordan. So when talking about how AI can help service customer better, this is where we're talking helping agents in the call center resolve an issue for their customer much more faster and easily. This is where digital human can now be a front center of e-commerce and help provide a totally dynamic experience. When we talk about running operation more smoothly, I wanted you to think about how AI can help dispatch a technician to the field much more optimized and much more effectively, for example. How network can be run much more efficiently. And when we talk about how to think about the core product differently, and this is one of the major areas of impact of telco, this is where AI can help the RAN, the radio access network. It's called AI for RAN. How can it help drive spectrum efficiency, for example? How can the network becomes more autonomous? So those are the things that we're talking about.
Mm. So, there's a lot of new announcements that have come out of GTC. Can we talk about those a little bit and really just, say how this is going to impact, kind of our day-to-day lives? So, one big thing that NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang talked about was the AI factory. So how does that play out, in the telco space?
So remember, I told you there is a fourth bonus impact
There it
to
is.
the telco. This is it. So telcos are now playing a big role in building sovereign AI, sovereign cloud AI, and AI factories around the world. Governments around the world are funding some AI acts. Canada had one, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, uh, and as those AI acts come in, and governments are interested in building sovereign AI cloud, they're knocking on the enterprise and big companies around those countries and say, who can help me build data centers and AI factory for the future? And what's interested enough is that telcos have those data centers. And not only that, telcos also have the relationship with the enterprise, with the bigger banks, with the hospital, with the education, with the governments. And hence, telcos are positioned as a very good partner to build those AI factories, those sovereign AI factories around the world. There's 14 telcos that already publicly announced it. Telenor, Swisscom, Iliad in France, Indonesia, and you name it. So they are taking part in building those AI factories. And if you remembered, Jensen said it's a factory that creates tokens. And they're playing that amazing role, bringing um, AI to the country, to the enterprise, to uh, to the people. And let me give you a good example. Um, Indonesia has different dialect of language. If you look at the LLMs that we use today in ChatGPT, doesn't talk Indonesian, right? You have to mainly prompt in English. So in Indonesia, they create a Chahabat model, right? It's the native language LLM. And now what does it do? It democratized AI and Gen AI to the education, to the healthcare, the public service. It's AI for good. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And like I'm glad we're going down this road, right? Because even as an example, I have, family in South America and my Spanish isn't good at all, right? So, is this finally, because it seems like the pieces are all there, right? You can talk to a chat GPT or something like that and get it back in different languages. From some of these announcements that we have seen today, is this going to kind of lay some of that foundation to where in the future we'll just be able to communicate with people in native tongues?
Absolutely. So it's interesting. Today, all of our data plans, when you buy your phone, it usually comes with a voice, right? You can text, can have a voice message as well, can browse on the internet. Tomorrow, generative AI and AI, the agentic AI, will enable totally new services that will come on your phone and enable a new, totally different experience. So let's talk about those new experiences. One of them, as you mentioned, it's we are going to converse in our native language. Totally two languages, two people will converse totally different languages, but there's going to be real-time translations and transcriptions such that you'll speak French as your native language, I'll speak English as my native language, but we'll hear the same language as we speak because on the network, there will be good translations and transcriptions. There will be new services like at home. I can now talk to my camera at home and stop yelling at my husband to tell me where the glasses are, right? I can actually prompt and say, where did I leave my glasses? And it will come up, right? There's going to be a new era of phones. There will be an appless phone. So at Mobile World Congress, I don't know if you guys had a chance to visit there. but DT showed a phone totally appless where there's an agent. I'm talking to that agentic AI. And in that conversation of agentic AI, that agent, I just said, hey, plan for me a trip of a family of 4 to Hawaii. And it started conversing with me. What are the dates that you want to go? Is there an air company, an airline that you prefer? Do you want a suite or do you want a room for 4 people? Is there a specific area you wanted to go? And through that conversation, behind the scene, the agentic AI go fetch the information for me. It has my, as a personal shopper and bring that information. So new experiences as a consumer, it's going to come as a consumer of a telco will be different in the next couple of years.
Yeah, that's extremely exciting to think about, almost an agentic layer, right? On top of your, phone or maybe instead of apps. It sounds exciting, and I'll really enjoy getting 11 minutes of my day back, not looking for my wife's glasses.
Thank you.
So that's a great benefit to consumers. But, I want to get back a little bit to, benefit to telco and some of these things that were just announced, here at GTC. So one of the things was, this whole concept of both, saving money, right? And this is for everyone, not just for telcos, but also, new lines of revenue. Can you explain specifically how this new technology that we're seeing out of NVIDIA is helping both sides of those coins for telcos?
Absolutely. So let's talk about how it can save money. Like that's the key one. Um, Telco is a good industry where the mode of operation needs to change. It requires changes, and you see telco every year trying to change by optimizing their costs more and more and more. AI and generative AI is a beautiful tool for the telcos to optimize cost. And that's the reason, Jordan, where if you look at different reports like we ran, NVIDIA just ran an State of the AI report, we're showing 95% of the telcos are adopting AI, 50% of them, 49, almost 50%, are actually implementing and doing it. And the reason is because it has this power to change the cost. So, for example, when you are helping with AI to dispatch field technician to the right place, instead of going, hey, let me send a technician to a field because there's a problem, and that technician not necessarily has the right tool in the back of the truck, or maybe he's not an expert in solving that existing problem. That dynamic is going to totally change. That technician tomorrow will be the right expert, knowing exactly what to change because he's going to have an assistant, an agentic AI that will explain to him how to change, how to do it. More than that, more importantly, the core network is going to be much more optimized and efficient. And if you think about it, the network is the biggest expenditure of a telco. And if I can use AI to run it more efficiently, I'm saving money. At Mobile World Congress, a company called DeepSeek ran, um, they used AI for the RAN, and they showed that they can create a benefit of almost 19 to 50% efficiency in spectrum.
Mm.
That's big. Telcos are spending billions of dollars in spectrum. Okay. Let's take another example. When we're doing assistant in billing, Amdocs created a billing and sales agents for the telcos. They showed a 50, almost 60% efficiency in first handling time. So you could get a resolution faster. If you get a resolution faster, 64% of the time, that means you get your agent to work more efficiently. Right? So those are cost efficiencies. And then we talked about how to create new lines of revenue, right? That's the bonus part that Telco has. And in creating new revenues, we talked about telcos building those AI factories. That's the first one. And there are three layers in that revenue generation. The first part is telco can go in and say, hey, I'm offering you GPU as a service. You are a company who builds model, you're an education company, you just need GPU as a service. There you go. The second layer is telco can in that AI factory say, hey, here's a platform of AI as a service. The customers will be enterprise that have data scientists that knows how to use AI. And the third layer is offering to the market AI services. For example, if I build a billing agents for myself and I prove the value of it, right? 64% efficiency, I can take that billing agent that I've built for myself and I can offer it to the enterprise, right? So it can go to an AI as a service. So we talked about that as revenue services. And remember how we earlier talked about new experiences? I can talk to my phone. I have a new assistant agent. Those are services for consumers that telco can now monetize as well. You can charge instead of $1.50 for those services. So those are different ways that telco can benefit and create both cost savings and revenue.
So I want to double down on one of those because it's very interesting, and I want to make sure that both myself and the audience understands this. So, I understand the concept of kind of like renting out or GPUs as a service, but explain a little bit more about how telcos can offer maybe AI services and what that means. So is that to businesses? Like how does that actually play out, right? In the reality? Because it seems to make sense, right? Telcos, if they have all this information from encrypted data from just about everyone, they should be able to build some type of service, right?
So not necessarily that. So or say it differently. As we start offering, telco has the opportunity to offer AI services to their enterprise customer, which means if they're building AI factory, it's basically the home of different developers who needs AI. For example, it could be a company like that offers services for um, trying to think of a good example. Connected cars, right? So it could be a connected car company or services for that. It could be uh, a small business agent. It could be ServiceNow and IT services that's offer SAP. So think about enterprise services that are going to be hosted on this big GPU cloud or sovereign AI cloud that built by the telco, right? So when ServiceNow is hosted, or again, take SAP, right? They're they're hosting their AI on this sovereign cloud. The telcos can help take that, sell it to the banks, right? And the good thing is NVIDIA has this ecosystem of partners. We have millions of developers that works on GPUs. And when a telco build this AI factory, we bring to that market those developer ecosystem that the market now can consume and the telco can offer to their enterprise B2B customers. That's one way of looking at it. Another way is like we looked at it from Shahabad, right? From the Indonesia example, where telcos can build the foundation of AI for good, maybe a language model, and unlock education opportunities, right? AI for healthcare, AI for services of the day to day. Like, hey, I can talk now to the DMV in my native language, right? So those are kind of the examples.
All right, those are some great examples, and I think that this conversation has been extremely helpful. But Lilac, as we wrap up, maybe just one last question. So, with everything, all the new announcements, there's a lot of buzz, not just here at GTC, but just with generative AI in general. Um, how should we be looking, at the future of the telco industry, right? I think some people are just like, oh, well, hey, we're just going to have 6G and, everything's just going to be better, right? But what is this actually going to look like, in the coming, months, specifically, everything that was just announced? How is this going to play out?
So there was a big section in GTC about robotics.
Mhm.
And if you guys had tuned into GTC, you saw a concept that was introduced that was three-computer system, right? There's going to be one computer that's going to train the model. There's going to be one computer that would do the simulation. And there's going to be one computer that's going to do the inferencing. If you think about network as a robot, the three-computer system work exactly for that. And that ability to train this robot that's called network with simulation, it's what we think of the path to autonomous network. Autonomous network is self-healing, self-resolving network with very little to no human in the loop. So if you think about agentic AI today, right, to think about the world where if you have a Taylor Swift concert that comes to Chicago when there's 400,000 people out there, the network will know that it's coming. It will automatically configure it. It will simulate it ahead of time in such that when there's actually 400,000 people in that concert, it will provision itself. And Jordan, when you're going to be in that concert, you're not going to lose any reception. You'll be able to upload pictures. You will be streaming video in real time. You have the good quality of service. And it will be done automagically, as my 22-year-old is saying.
I
So
love
this
that.
is it.
Thank you so much for your time to help us better understand not just telco and all of the innovations that are happening, but also even what has just been announced at GTC is going to impact the industry. So, Lilac, thank you so much for taking your time to join the Everyday AI show.
I thank you for having me. It was great.
All right. And hey, a lot of great information in there. I hope you all, like myself, got a little bit smarter. But if there's a couple things you missed, or if you just wanted more information, we're going to be recapping today's conversation in our newsletter. So please make sure you go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for that free daily newsletter. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you back tomorrow and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.